Welcome back to my workshop. It's been a while since I gave a video intro from my workshop. Wanted to tell you about my Instagram. I've mentioned it in several other videos, but if you're interested in following me, I'll put it right here on the screen and in the first line of the description. I post pictures on current day type projects. Like you see here, I've got pictures of this on my Instagram. I also use Instagram to kind of give out a notification of when a video goes live. Last night, just sat down to eat dinner and I got a text message with a picture of the top of a water heater and it's leaking some water. And this is a customer of mine who owns a rental property, and this is the picture that their tenant sent them and they in turn sent to me. There was quite a bit of drama. People were scared to death. Anyways, what I did is I went over there, shut the water off to that hot water heater, and told them I would come back in the morning. So it's a fourplex. That person was out of town, so they said don't worry about it, fixing it tonight in the cold and the dark, because this you gotta see this place. Anyways, first stop is the Walmart jewelry counter. I love this watch, but I'm always breaking the pins that keep the band together. And a new band is almost as much as a whole new watch. Okay, got my watch all fixed up. Got us a new dielectric union. It's a fancy word. Most of these houses are over 100 years old, 110, 115 years old. They've been fixed and flipped. And this one here is a fourplex. This is a rental unit, and this is what failed. This is a union. I'm going to take it apart for you and show you how it works. That is the rubber washer that I think might be the only thing that failed. This here is just a nut. This little plastic piece is what isolates the dissimilar metals so that you don't have electrolysis. And what this nut does is it screws down onto here and it pushes that brass face there right to that and squishes it. Now if this rubber washer starts to fail, water can start, water goes in the top and it can start squirting out the side, make its way down the threads and start dripping right out the side. So you'll see, do I have a pointer? What is this thing? I don't know. We'll use this as a pointer. So water will start showing itself right at the threads. And in this case, it was kind of squirting right out the side. In the dungeon. At least it's warm in here. Alright, where's the light switch here? Alright, just had to put a fresh battery in. And this is the union. And you can still see that it's leaking a little bit. There's some water on the top there. So what I've done is I've shut it off. And this supply goes to the bottom unit over that way, and I opened up the faucets, the hot water, and I'm letting the pressure release so that when I pull this off, water doesn't come shooting up out of the hot water heater. The reason it would do that it would be backflowing back into the hot water heater and want to come up out of here, because the weight of the water that is in the condo above us would want to push down and out. Okay, what am I doing? Draining some of the hot water out so that it doesn't come out the top. Hopefully I only have to do a few trips out to get the water level down low enough where it's not coming out the top. bring you up to date here. Got enough water drained out. It only took me 2 trips, and I was able to get about a half a bucket, just leaning it up against there. And now we have no water pushing out. But man, that is nasty looking in there. This is the rubber washer that I was talking about that could have failed, but believe it or not, this is not the problem. There is a pin rust hole right there in the actual union between the threads and this knurled section here. I'm gonna pull this off, and I think I'm gonna replace everything. I don't know if I'll be able to get this separated from this because of all this rust that I see here. I just got a feeling it's really nasty. So I'm gonna pull this whole thing out. Just took the whole stem out. Man, that is nasty. Okay, got you set up on the boiler here, and look at all that corrosive buildup inside there. That's how tiny the hole is. It's supposed to be like that big. I'm going to spend a few seconds just to see if I can separate this from this. I don't want to reuse this. What I will do is I'm going to run out to my trailer and grab another one of these little stems here. Point out the little tiny hole at the tip of my finger there. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. It's really small. So I had to get down on the ground and clamp down on these, but it did break free fairly easily. It actually doesn't look too bad. But in there is the mess. Even like really hardened up in there. That's all rust. But what I'll do is I'll snap a picture just for my records and the owner's records of what this inside parts look like, and get it put back together. Hang on. These are the old parts, and these are the new parts. The flapper can go in either direction on the hot water heater tap. Don't want to over tighten it, just watertight. Now, tighten this bad boy back up. I don't want to over tighten these things, so that's just snug down. What I'm going to do is crack this valve open, slowly let the water heater fill back up with water, fill up the system, all the air bled out. I don't want to turn it on full blast and shock the system, so it's going to be a slow. Just got it turned down a little bit. Everything will fill up, come up to pressure, and then I can test for leaks. So it's all fixed up. And right now I'm just waiting for the water heater to heat up and kick off. Then I'm going to run some water and just make sure that everything works perfect before I leave. Because when you get into these old places, things are just barely hanging on by a thread, and things can break at any time. So you don't want to get blamed for something else that is unrelated but was going to go bad anyways. So this is their utility room, and it's pretty crowded. You can see there's 4 hot water heaters in here. There's this giant boiler. It's probably 90 degrees in here right now. It's really loud, noxious. But the floor is drying up. I kicked some dirt on it, try to get it to dry up a little faster. But if you look around, you can see it's a brick foundation, and then this is like a plaster over brick. See, more plaster over brick. And some people really get upset at me when I show using flex lines to hook up hot water heaters. But in this area, it's required to use a flex line. Go back over here and take a look. I don't know if you can tell, but I've just been keeping an eye on this, making sure that it stays dry and there's no leaks. I can look down in there to see if this cup is filling up with water or has any water in there, but that's bone dry. Close the door, things start crumbling. Like I said, I'm just gonna cycle it a few times just to make sure everything works when I leave. I know my leak's fixed, but like I said earlier, when you touch a certain thing that's really old, it'll break too. I actually forgot about this project, and I still have not invoiced for it. So my question to you, knowing after watching the video and seeing what I did, it was a pretty simple repair. I'm not sure if your average homeowner would want to take that on, but I know there are a lot of homeowners that would do this repair themselves and not call a plumber. With that said, how much do you think I should charge? Like I said, I haven't invoiced yet. I almost forgot about it. I was going through my phone, saw the picture, and I was like, oh, I forgot about this. Put a few pictures up on Instagram. Now I'm asking you, how much would you charge? Or how much would you be willing to pay for this service that I provided? I wanted to answer a few of your questions. First question is about last week's video on how much should I charge for making those bed frame rails to connect the headboard and the footboard. The answer to that question is $500. Building things like that, the bed frame rails and a custom sized barn door, are not something that my business does often. Now that I have this workshop, I'm trying to build that part of my business. And I'm going to do that the same way I was able to build the handyman and remodeling part of it, where I start with my prices low and the value very high. As my customer base grows and the demand for my work increases, I can increase my prices. But for right now, it's all about doing quality work at a very reasonable price. Another question I get is about the cow. Well, if you can answer that, you get a big thumbs up. Kind of a challenge. Who knows what the heck I built that cow for? Now I know I'm going to get a ton of questions about this water heater. Or is it a hot water heater? Why are you calling it a hot water heater? That is like YouTube troll. It's like their favorite thing to do on any sort of home repair is just call out. Oh, you called it this and it's supposed to be called that. You guys need to relax. It's a hot water heater. It's a water heater. You know what I'm saying. Half the country, I'd say even like 90% of our country, USA, calls it a hot water heater. Get over it. There are some things missing in this water heater setup that you may have at your home. And that's just different code requirements, either state by state or municipality by municipality. It can vary from city to city and state to state. First thing, expansion tank. There are no expansion tanks anywhere in this state. Backflow preventers or vacuum breakers, they don't exist here either. They just aren't on the plumbing at the hot water heater or water heater. What else? Flex lines, I talked about that in the video. They're required here. You can see none of these have a drain pan. I mean, there's nowhere for it to go. It's like underground. And there's no floor drain. This is like a 120-year-old building. Hopefully that answers some of your questions and can calm your anxiety because you're like, ah, expansion tank. Anyways, give the video a thumbs up, share it, subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram.